Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, featuring Leamsiemuniz. Enjoy. Hello, my beautiful souls. Welcome to Phoenix Healing Podcast, where mental health is our number one priority, with your host, Leamsiemuniz. Welcome to episode 13. Like, what are you saying right now? I'm super excited, very proud of myself, being so consistent and determined. I'm like, girl, let them know. But before we get into anything, happy Pride Month to my beautiful souls, to every single one of you. For those of you who might be interested, I am pansexual. I find more of an attraction to energies, whether it's feminine energies or masculine energies, which I know we all have a mix of, but just I found more attraction to that rather than gender or sex or identity. I just wanted to throw that out there in awareness to the fact that love is love, and it's okay for you to feel that you're different, for you to have different perspectives, for you to not fit in with the labels and whatever is going on in society, right? You still belong. You have a beautiful community out here and you are never alone, okay? Kissy for you. So this episode, I want it to be a bit different because I've realized a lot through my healing experience and spiritual journey in general that I often confuse healing with constantly moving or constantly growing or constantly healing. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like that's a really big misconception, especially now that spirituality or spiritual practices are being more presented through social media and just life in general. I think that sometimes holding that space of awareness that for us to be healing, for us to live a healthy life and be aware of our mental health, is not that you constantly have to be healing or fixing something or doing shadow work or doing all these spiritual practices, right? Sometimes healing is just showing up for yourself in a sense of understanding that I don't need to change or transform who I am in order to be worthy of a good life or in order to be worthy of peace and balance in the present moment. So, in this episode, I just want us to hold space for each other to simply be, acknowledge the growth that we have already made, acknowledge that we are here, we are breathing, we are alive, and that is the biggest accomplishment you can have in this lifetime. And I don't want us to ever feel pressured to do more than we need to, or feel pressured to show up for other people, or show up for the world, or show up for the spiritual quote unquote gurus, that often present themselves. It's okay for you to just simply be. So that is exactly what we're going to do in this episode. But of course, before we actually begin our discussions, I want to do some affirmations to ground our energy, to allow ourselves to connect through a much more organic and authentic essence. And yeah, we're just gonna get into it, okay? Let's really focus on breathing as well. That's been a really, really, really big topic for me this entire week. This past couple months, it's just been really focusing on my breathing. Okay, so let's do that. And then I'm gonna do some intuitive affirmations. Love comes to me in different forms. I accept love in every form that it comes. I open my mind, body, soul, and spirit to receiving love. I'm deserving of love. I'm deserving of unconditional love. I allow myself to simmer and bask in the beautiful essence and grace of life. It is okay for me to not be constantly moving. I am more than enough just as I am right now in this moment. I am always where I need to be, exactly in these moments. It's okay for me to not feel okay all of the time. I'm valuable. I'm worthy of all of the amazing things under the sun. It is okay for me not to know what next steps to take. I acknowledge that sometimes taking the next step is simply resting. It is acknowledging the steps that I've already taken. It is acknowledging that I am more than enough. It is acknowledging that I'm always valuable and worthy, regardless of where I am, of what I look like, of what I'm labeled as, of who is around me. I am deserving of good things. I am deserving of respect. I am deserving of love. I am deserving of compassion. And I show myself all of those things every single day. In every present moment, I allow myself to feel what I feel. I allow my emotions to flow through me. I allow my feelings to bubble and do whatever they want to do naturally. As I know that I am not my emotions. I'm simply observing. And as I observe, I do not judge. I just see with all of my 5 senses. I allow myself to be in this moment right now. I allow myself to delete whatever has been weighing me. I allow myself to remove all burdens and ties that do not serve my highest and greatest good. I allow myself to melt away any negative thoughts, negative beliefs of self. I allow myself to live a limitless life. I allow myself to be who I am, as I am, right now in this moment. Que se pa yo say. So, those were our intuitive affirmations for this week, which I really connected with, and I hope you did as well. You know, the reason why I do it is because I think it's important that we establish a firm basis, right, before we have any conversation or before we connect with people. Because sometimes I've noticed that when I'm interacting with someone and I haven't taken the time to like connect back to my energy and find my balance and my ground, my mind is all over the place, and I cannot have like a full authentic conversation or connection with someone because my mind is somewhere else, you know. And I really want us to be able to connect with each other. I don't just sit here so that you can listen. You know, I sit here because I think there is a sense of healing and community and growth and connection when you are able to sit down and be vulnerable and be raw and showcase who you are truly, you know, apart from everything else that society kind of throws at us. It creates a sense of bonding. It creates a sense of feeling like we belong, you know. And, you know, I think we should all feel that way, because it's a beautiful feeling to feel that you belong to something, or you belong with something, or you're just seen and appreciated, right? And I see you and I appreciate you and I love you unconditionally. Let a motherfucking know there is no condition love here. That's not what we gonna do. All that we do over here is love unconditionally. No judgment. We try to understand rather than just, you know, instantly define or label something and just throw it on the back burner. No, we're going to take our time with whatever energies are flowing through us. I want to be able to sit so that we can acknowledge each other and you can understand who I am and then I can understand who you are, right? This is a very long process, but it's one that takes patience and compassion and understanding, right? We need to understand ourselves in order to be able to connect with others and to an extent, you know, understand those around us. So yeah, in this episode, I just wanted to hold space to acknowledge that, you know, healing, I feel like the word healing itself is anchored to so much, you know. When I think of healing, or at least in the beginning of like my spiritual journey, quote unquote, it was like when I thought of healing, I thought of shadow work, of writing, of doing all these body movements, of eating healthy, of like changing things up and transforming and reading and feeding your mind, body, and your soul. And sometimes, you know, healing isn't that. Like, these are aspects that can help us. These are aspects that allow us to expand, you know, the experience and opportunities in which healing is presented, but that is not healing. You know, healing is allowing yourself to be in a present moment, to feel whatever you are feeling and experience it, right? Healing is using your 5 senses. It is allowing yourself to be open to whatever flows. You know, there's these past couple of weeks, there were certain moments when I had to remind myself, like, you know, I am whole as I am. I do not need to be fixed. And I think I mentioned this in either my last EP or like different videos I've made on my socials, where it's like, I do not need to constantly be fixing something in order to feel that I'm whole and I'm worthy, right? And I've had to remind myself of this a couple times. And it's really just setting the basis that who you are right now is your highest self. Who you are right now is more than enough. And you don't have to run a race. You don't have to run and be in fucking track star in order to be deserving of the trophy, right? You get a trophy for participating. So for you existing, for you breathing, for you still being here, still being alive, still trying your best, you are rewarded, because that is all that you're supposed to do. Just try your best. And sometimes trying your best is laying in bed and crying, because that's a part of healing. That's a part of the process, right? Sometimes it's making mistakes. Sometimes it's placing yourself in spaces and connections where you might feel that it's a good one, but maybe it's not. It's really learning as we take these steps. And that's something that I've really had to acknowledge very much, especially in the month of May, where it's like I'm getting into this natural flow of being who I am, and loving my more authentic self. And with that comes a lot of people who you attract. Once your light starts to shine brighter and you carry yourself a certain way, there's gonna be little bugs and gnats and little mosquitoes and little vampires who are gonna feel attracted to that light, right? The moths, the ones who are meant to cause a death, the ones who are meant to cause this cycle to end. And sometimes I get a little too deep into those connections and circumstances and environments, and I like lose myself. That's to remind myself, like, hey, there's nothing wrong with me. Being a human, having 5 senses, it's a lot to handle, especially when you're not only connected to the physical aspect, but you're connected to the spiritual aspects of your being. We are a multi-dimensional being. We're not just here physically. We're here on all motherfucking 5 layers, infinite layers, right? We're infinite beings. So yes, there are going to be moments when things get overwhelming, when we might get lost, when we might feel like, yo, like, what the fuck is going on? And in those moments, I literally had to sit and have a conversation with myself. Like, you don't have to run away from this. You don't have to run away from this experience and try to retrack your steps and walk backwards to avoid anything that you might not want to experience. But hey, that's all part of the process. That's part of us learning. That's part of us understanding, well, who am I? Like, what works for me, what doesn't work for me, how can I walk this path and make it easier for myself, because there's always going to be those bumps, there's always going to be those hills and those parts of the paths that we want to avoid and take the shortcuts. But usually those shortcuts, they don't take you to the top of the mountain, they don't take you to that beautiful view, they don't take you through the garden so you can smell the roses as we're like busting our asses and walking up that path. And having compassion for yourself and understanding that who I am right now is more than enough. I feel like that's very, very crucial, especially when it comes to mental health and having that awareness of your mental health and the fact that your mental health really, really matters. You hear the little babies in the background, they're like, yes, confirmation. Even when I'm recording these podcasts, I feel like I'm a planner kind of person. Like I want to plan things in my life to, almost that ego need to control and have things all set up for myself. But it's like sometimes allowing yourself to just go with the flow and not plan things ahead is the greatest option for you. Not that it's always the option we should go with, but sometimes it is the greatest option for you. So today I was like, what should my topic be? Like, I was really picking at my brain. And then I was like, you know what? This is exactly what I should be talking about. The fact that we don't have to constantly have an answer as to what am I going to do next? Like, what else do I need to do with myself? Like, what else do I need to produce? What do I need to create? What do I need to give? This is a time of receiving. We are, you should be always you should always be open to receiving, because regardless of where you are in life, regardless of what you are doing, you are deserving of receiving good things into your life, right? And that's something that I'm still kind of learning because I'm like, well, why would I receive this if I haven't, created something to showcase like, oh yeah, this is why I deserve it. No. We deserve it because we exist. We deserve it because we are alive. We deserve it because we are fruitful beings. We are abundant beings. We are infinite beings. And just being here, being present, and being able to experience whatever is going on in the world, whether it's, viewed as negative or positive, that is a blessing. As shitty as that sounds, in moments of chaos, within that chaos, there is immense blessings, because just being able to witness an event or something that's happened that can either destroy you or create you, that is a huge opportunity, right? It's an opportunity for you to use all of your tools and all of your natural capabilities and talents, and ask yourself, what am I going to use with this? Or what am I going to do with this? Am I going to enhance my life and find a way to take those steps forward in a much more joyful or grounded stride? Or am I going to sit here and allow it to destroy me, to destroy the steps that I've already taken, to destroy the path that I've already walked? This is a never-ending cycle of learning. Like, I told myself this like a week ago, like last week. Excuse me. Like last week, I was like, girl, we are an ever learning student in this life. Like, literally, this experience is a learning experience. Point blank, period. It's just like when you're in school. There's always different courses, different levels, different classes, different subjects, and it's up to you if you want to learn. It's up to you if you want to absorb that information, or just let the opportunity pass and kind of ignore it, and bypass the fact that you are a student. And just as you are a student, you can also be a teacher, right? You're simultaneously teaching yourself how to be a student, which is it's like, it's so ironic that as students, we have to teach ourselves how to be a student. We have to teach ourselves how to remain balanced and how to find, this energetic grounding for ourselves, how to be aware of certain things, and how to take a step back, and how to study, and how to be consistent or disciplined, or even take those moments of relaxation and connect with the world and connect with nature and socialize. Like, it's such a juggling experience that sometimes allowing yourself just to like breathe, stop moving so quickly, stop feeling that you have to constantly have the answer, that you have to constantly have your entire life planned out, because the majority of people who had their entire life planned out step by step are usually the ones who end up changing all of it, and experiencing different things and living a completely different life. Because I know a very good soul friend of mine, he mentioned, it's ironic that our plan is never God's plan. Whenever we make a plan, it goes differently, because it's like, well, you're not the one in charge here, baby girl. Like, you're just observing, you're just experiencing. Sometimes we have to let the universe take the wheel, right? Drives the boats and take us wherever we need to go. And then it's just us receiving that experience. This is a life of receiving, of being a student, and allow yourself to receive and absorb the information you are given, and receive and absorb the experiences and the connections and the lessons and everything that you have experienced or you are going to experience, right? And sometimes that doesn't happen naturally. Sometimes we have to take a step back and kind of like, whoa, like zoom out, like, hold on, like, I experienced all of that, but what did I really take in? It's like sometimes we're on autopilot mode where we're just moving, doing whatever, and we get into this habit, or almost like this agenda, right? We create an agenda for ourselves, and we start to lose the sense of passion in life, the idea that Life isn't supposed to be consistently the same every single day, every single second, every single moment. You know, there's way too much to experience in life for us to place ourselves in a space like that. Oh, hold on, my nose is getting itchy. You know, and having that awareness that as a student, we can't sit in at one desk in one space consistently every single day and expect to have a bigger brain, right? Expect to be more knowledgeable and to hold more, to have more intelligence, right? You're not going to learn if you're just staying in one class. You know, you have to expand, you have to try different things, you have to allow yourself to be curious, to take a step outside of those four walls and see what else there is in life, you know. And when I used to have like this agenda, quote unquote, for myself, where I would wake up in the morning, I'd do like a little yoga meditation, I'd read or something, I'd clean up my room, take my dog out, do whatever I had to do with my pets, go to the gym, come back, do 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 dee dee dee. It started to get so like I couldn't take it. I was like, okay. And it wasn't that, excuse me, it wasn't that I couldn't be consistent. I was doing pretty good with the consistency, but it's that just the idea that, oh, here we go again. I have to do this again over and over and over and over and over. That really got to my fucking brain. And I'm like, no, this is not what I want to do. I want to change things up for myself. Sometimes my mornings look like sleeping in. Sometimes my mornings look like doing yoga. Sometimes it looks like, writing for a little bit, writing poetry, or just sitting with my pets and playing with them, having this, allowing myself to change things up every once in a while, allowing myself not to be at this consistent agenda, hourly, by the minute type of thing. It's allowed me to expand my being and understand in certain energies and certain vibrations, what do I need. If I wake up and I'm feeling certain emotions, I'm not going to force myself to do something that isn't necessarily going to help me or benefit me in that moment. So allowing myself to feel what I'm feeling and do what I want to do while I'm feeling those feelings or those emotions, it's allowed me to understand what works for me. How can I express these emotions and these energies that I wake up with or throughout the day, right? Instead of kind of pushing them back and moving forward and continuing to run and run and run, So it's a big old balance that we have to keep for ourselves, and we have to constantly, I don't want to say constantly, but we have to be aware and keep tabs on ourselves, right? And when we allow ourselves to be in the moment and be present, that is when it becomes easier, because you're no longer searching for these signs or these messages or these angel numbers and all these things. Like, no, you're not searching for it. You're allowing yourself to experience, what am I feeling? Allowing yourself to experience your internal world. And with that, you can carry that internal world wherever you experience physically. And so it's not going to be so much of, oh, I need validation, I need confirmation, I need this, I need that. You don't need anything. Because you do not need to fix yourself. You do not need to change anything about yourself in this moment right now. Because all you're meant to do is experience that internal world. Listen to your own internal signs. Listen to that heartbeat of yours as a reminder that I'm a live being right now. I'm not just a pair of eyes that's seeing everything, a pair of ears that can hear things, a mouth that can speak. No, your words are powerful as shit. Not the cat licking my toes right now, but your words can kill or create. It can create life. It can create new things, and the things that you tell yourself, the things that you tell others, you are manifesting your internal world and projecting it and turning it into a reality. Speaking and creating or singing or instruments and all of these ways that we can express, you are literally turning your internal world that no one else sees or understands or can ever experience, and you're putting it out into the world to see, to hear, to experience with all of their five senses. That's a big, 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 big thing. And I feel like having that awareness through my experiences and perspectives is like, sometimes I feel very restricted, because when I'm around certain people who I feel will not accept my internal world, or won't understand my internal world, or won't appreciate or love my internal world as it should be, I feel very restricted. I feel very limited. I feel uncomfortable, because I'm like, well, what am I supposed to express? This is my internal world. This is what's going on within me. And this person isn't willing to accept that. This person isn't willing to acknowledge it, or love it, and be there to listen. So why am I in these spaces? You know what I'm saying? Like, I experienced that recently, and I feel like I'm still in the mode of stepping away from that, because I've gained an self-appreciation for my internal world. I think it's beautiful with all of its flaws and everything, and I feel that I want to share it with people, and I want other people to feel the feelings that I feel within myself, And as I was stating, it's like, not everyone is gonna have the capacity to appreciate you, or see your internal world, or absorb and comprehend and feel the internal world the way that you feel it. I don't think anyone will ever feel it the way that you feel it, but in a sense of having people around you who to some extent can hold that space for you to be appreciated and be loved for who you are and what's happening internally. It's something that we should never take for granted. And I feel that in my past I have taken those things for granted, and so I'm taking these experiences as a lesson now. And instead of feeling like, oh, I need to fix myself, I need to change something about me, I need to do things differently so that these people that I'm trying to express to can better understand me. It does not matter what you do, how many times you try to change yourself and do things differently. Those people will never have the energetic capacity to understand your internal world, to understand your internal world, to appreciate your internal world, to see your internal world. And with self-love and unconditional love, it's accepting that those people will not have the capacity, and so I do not belong in this space, and so I need to remove myself, and a lot of guilt came with that for me, because I'm like, well, now they're never going to experience, the unconditional love that I have to give, because I feel that my capacity to love is absolutely infinite, and everyone's capacity to love is infinite. It's really about, well, how much love am I unlocking within myself? And that's why we say that self-love, in order to love someone, you have to have that self-love. It's because when you show yourself what love looks like to you, what it feels like to you, you are unlocking all of these different, like, it's like chook, 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 all the way within your body, and it's unlocking more abundant flow of unconditional love within you. And when you're unlocking that through self-love, you're able to express it more to other people, So it's like, as I'm unlocking more of that unconditional love within myself, I'm like, yo, like, I can really love the fuck out of this person, and with my heart, it's like, I don't stop until I try everything. Literally everything. I try to change things up. I try to do things differently. I try to express differently. But it's like, it doesn't matter how much effort you put into trying to make that person understand or see you for who you are. It's never going to work, because it's not you. You do not need to be fixed. You are whole as you are. You are valuable as you are. You are worthy as you are. That's just the other person's business, right? Their capacity to love isn't as open and flowing as yours, because they're not putting in that internal care for themselves, that internal care to understand, well, what does love feel like and look like to me? Every time I record, my nose gets itchy. It's a damn, what's going on right now? But I don't know. I think today is really just about reflecting, reflecting these lessons and kind of piecing together everything that we've learned, is taking a step back, and instead of looking for more puzzle pieces to finish the picture, how much of the picture have we already finished? Like, what do we see now? What can we observe right now? Feeling accomplished and proud of yourself for where you are right now, because you don't have to be on top of the world to be valuable. You don't have to be, this incredible, perfect human being who's extremely physically successful, right? Who you are right now, and as you come and as you are presenting yourself right now, that is valuable, and that is worthy of love, and that is worthy of recognition, and that is worthy of space. That's something else I should mention that I feel that I've really learned, is accepting that I take up space. That's it. That's the lesson. Accepting that I take up space, that, there are certain moments when I feel like I'm like this little child, like literally, and in my mind sometimes I view myself as this little child who's shriveled up and innocent and kind of in the background, blending out, that I don't stand out, that I'm not bold, that I'm not this and this and that. And it's like, that is not true. We are very much bold. We are very much a standout kind of aura. We have energy. We have a light within us that is naturally so expressive, is naturally so radiant, right? And that takes up space. I don't like too much the term of taking up space, but in a sense of understanding that no matter where I go, no matter what I look like, because of the person who I am, because of the energy and the love that I carry within me, I'm always going to radiate. I'm always going to stand out. I'm always going to be seen. I'm always going to be, viewed in whatever ways people view me, but I'm going to be highlighted, right? That's just the natural aspect of my soul, of my being. And sometimes accepting that can be a bit difficult, because I'm like, well, I don't take up that much space, because in my past I was silenced a lot, and I always had to follow everyone else's footsteps and everyone else's rules, that I wasn't used to being a main character, quote unquote main character, which is really just being an individual, right? I wasn't used to that. So now really getting into that energy and that new natural aspect of my life, I'm like, whoa, like, I do take a space. Like, there are moments when I feel so small and so like unseen, and then in those moments the universe sends me that message or sends me that reminder, and I'm like, whoa, pew. Like a super zoom back, my brain explodes type of thing. Like, that's the emotion. It's like, oh, okay, I am here, I am alive, I am here, I'm alive, I'm radiant, I'm seen, I belong. Okay, so that was something else that I feel really stood out to me in a lot of the experience that I've been experiencing up to now, right? It's taking up space. It's acknowledging that who you are is enough. You don't have to change for anyone. You don't have to change anything, period. Transforming isn't changing. Those are very different things. And I did speak about this in my last EP, so I'm not really going to repeat anything, but transformation is the more positive and natural aspect of our evolvement, of our growth, right? Change is forced. It is forceful. It is not what happens within us. Our internal world is constantly transforming. It's constantly blooming and regrowing and doing all of these beautiful, magical things. and that's the part of ourselves that we have to acknowledge, right? Acknowledge the parts that aren't always going to stay the same. Nothing in life ever stays the same. Everything is, in a sense, temporary. And sometimes that can be difficult to accept or understand, because it's like, well, if this is a good thing, then why isn't it staying in my life forever? Like, am I not deserving of having good things in my life forever? And you are, but in order for us to receive the good things that are in alignment with where we are, it has to be an ever transforming good thing. what could be good for us now and what we might see as good for us right now maybe isn't good for us down the road, because we're going to be a completely different person. We're going to express differently. We're going to feel things differently. We're going to view things differently. So as an ever growing being, we can't have the same thing continuously for the rest of our lives. It also has to evolve with us. It has to transform with us. And with the good comes bad, because that's just a natural balance of life. As within, so within ourselves, we have the shadow and the light, and outside of ourselves, there are the positive things and the negative things. That's just what keeps the balance. We need to accept that. And like, this is me acknowledging what I've already experienced and where I am right now, rather than feeling that I have to find more answers and understand more things. Like, sometimes I really self-sabotage with that. Because I'll be like, oh, I can't experience this because I'm not ready. If I wasn't ready, I wouldn't be experiencing it, right? It's giving to us when we are ready. But it's just up to us to accept those blessings. Blessings are constantly around us, but the only way we can receive it is if you are open to receiving it. You can only receive what you are open to. I also have been reminding myself of that lately, because sometimes I'm like, why am I not receiving? Or if I receive a connection or something that isn't really what I need in my life or what I expected in terms of how healthy it is, I'm like, why the fuck did this come in? And it's because that fear for connection and love and intimacy was still present within me. And so I wasn't open to receiving a connection that was intimate or that was unconditional, right? And that's why I didn't receive it. So I had to remind myself, it's not the world that's trying to trick me or play little games with me. It's literally the fact that I was not open to receiving. And when you feel that you lack something, that's you telling yourself, I'm not open to receiving this because I don't feel that I have it within me already. It's like being a magnet. If you feel that you have unconditional love within yourself and you allow yourself to receive unconditional love from yourself, you are going to naturally receive unconditional love from those around you. It's the little magnitude kind of essence. And that's why they say, don't chase, attract. I do not chase, I attract. I attract the things that I already have internalized within me. We are these giant light beams that are just walking around, and I got like a vision of, like, I don't know what they're called, but I don't know if it's an actual thing, but like of this silver pole that's like magnetizing and like pulses out like an electromagnetic fields. I think that's an actual thing, that it goes like this, and then everything that is in alignment with it connects to, it attracts. Oh my gosh, I got a cat hair in my nose. It attracts naturally. So that's what we are. We are energy. We are these energy poles, and whatever vibration you are radiating at and pulsing at, that's exactly what you're gonna attract. That's exactly the environments you're gonna be in. Those are the opportunities you are going to experience. You know what I'm saying? And so accepting where you are right now and acknowledging that wherever my vibration and energy is right now is exactly where I need to be in order for me to evolve and heighten my vibration so I can attract more things. There are levels to this. So you can't just skip levels and expect yourself to be in alignment with the things that you want to receive at those different levels, because you didn't internalize the past levels. You didn't internalize the fact that, okay, these are parts of myself that no longer work for me, right? And sometimes we don't realize that things don't work for us anymore because we're not in the present moment, and we're constantly thinking of, how can I be better? What am I going to do in the future? Like, what is going to work for me in the future? It's not about the future, bitch. It's about the motherfucking present. Stop motherfucking playing with yourself and remain right motherfucking here. Because this is where you are meant to be, and that is why you are here. If you were meant to be in the future, you would have been in the future, in those moments where you want to be. Ooh, girl, my nose is like, golly. Excuse me. But yeah, like these are little things that really have been adding up and becoming more clear for me, and I've been internalizing. In order for me to do that, I had to remain present and focused, and sometimes that shit gets difficult as fuck, or feels difficult because my mind will be in one place and my body is in this place, but then my emotions are carrying me to different places. I'm like, yo, at this point, just carry me out to the fucking sea, and I'ma just ripple in the waves and allow my body to just do whatever it has to do, because that's really how it be sometimes. Like there can be so much movement within you, so many energetic changes and energetic transformation and just energetic movements going on within your being, that sometimes you literally have to just exist and not do anything and not create and not express and just sit in it. And that can feel so uncomfortable, but it is necessary, right? We are living a life of unexpected expectations where the universe is like, well, if you want to do these certain things, we expect you to do these things, you know what I'm saying? But the things that we expect you to do are unexpected for you because you don't see it coming, right? Being in the present moment, you don't know what's going to come next. You don't know what you're going to feel next, what you're going to experience next, you know, what you have to do for yourself next. But I feel like that's what makes it so adventurous and so fun, because like you don't know. Yeah, it's a mystery. So, you know, making things easier for yourself is allowing yourself to just go with the flow, not trying to swim against the waves, but instead swimming with the waves, and at times allowing yourself just to float and look around and see where you are, or go underwater and explore like different little things and see nature float by and see the animals and jump with the dolphins, and you know what I'm saying, a little mermaid experience. But I don't know, I just feel like we needed to have this space just to talk about these certain things, you know. Even though you guys aren't experiencing what I'm experiencing, I think it's just living as the example that you don't need to know what's coming next. You don't need to have everything figured out, because I most definitely do not. When I tell you, girl, I'm just going with the flow. I'm dead ass going with the flow. Like, I acknowledge my goals and things that I want to achieve, but I don't allow that to be like my main focus in terms of what I'm experiencing in the present moment. Whatever I'm experiencing, I know is going to lead me to those goals and to those achievements. So I don't need to like push it or pressure or do too much. Just listen to my internal voice, listen to what my body's telling me, what my mind, my spirit, my soul, the universe, what is it communicating with me, because it wants to work with me. The world wants to work with you, not against you. Okay, so whatever you experience, it is literally for your highest and greatest good. So I would say, I feel like the best things that's worked for me is writing down my goals and things that I just want to achieve in my life in general, whether it's now or later, you know, short term or long term. I've written them all down so that I am consciously aware, and I'm bringing that internal idea out into the present and the physical, in the physical world. And then I allow the universe and spirit and me to lead me in that direction, because if it is meant for me, I am going to achieve it. If it's something that I haven't achieved yet, or that I'm not on a path of achieving, that means that it wasn't meant for me. It wasn't a part of my purpose. I'm okay with it, whatever. You know. So, you know, let's release some of that pressure. Let's take a deep breath one more time. Like, release all the burdens that you place on yourself. You're very much in control of how much weight you carry in that boat. So if you feel that it's overwhelming and it's too much and it's like causing you to sink, you are responsible for removing those things, right? You are responsible for lightening up the carriage, the boat, the vehicle. Okay, you are the captain, babe. You are the motherfucking captain. So I think this is going to conclude this episode. I really liked it. It was very, very, very natural flowing. Literally did not have any topic in mind. I'm like, you know what? Let's just have a moment of reflection and allow ourselves to simply be in this moment, because sometimes we need that. That is very, very necessary. That is part of healing, and that is a process of your internal evolvement. Okay? Oh my goodness. Like, I love connecting with you guys. Like, I don't know. I feel like these podcasts have allowed me to experience that whole process of allowing myself to express naturally and not feel pressured or feel that I have to do things a certain way. You know, if you look back at my topics and maybe even the way that I expressed or the way that I said certain things or whatever, I feel like there has been like a little transformation throughout it. Like, some of the topics might be random as fuck. And I actually like that, because I'm not following this agenda. I'm not following this schedule. I'm not following this rigged like process. I'm allowing the process to come naturally to me and expressing that naturally to you. So you guys are also part of the process. You are absolutely fucking amazing. If anyone ever tells you otherwise, walk away. I would have said punch them in the face, but we don't do violence over here, babe. You gotta be the bigger person. Walk away. If they can't see, appreciate, or love your internal world and the way that you express it, then there is nothing you can do about that. Okay? You simply have to pack your bags and head the fuck out. You know, find your own little path, do what you gotta do. But with that, I hope you have an amazing morning, day, evening, night, whatever it may be for you, because you, my beautiful, beautiful soul, are deserving of the best and only the best things the universe has to offer. I love you guys so much, and I'll see you in next week's episode. Peace out, baby. Bye.